If you have ever seen three boys moving as if their legs were tied together, laughing like the world belonged to them, you will understand why people once believed that Adam, Sylvester, and Gideon were brothers. They were not blood brothers, but in the street where they grew up, people used to say, blood is water. But sometimes water can also behave like blood. This story begins in a small town in Cross River, under the shade of tall trees and red earth, where these three boys first touched the soil of friendship. Their street was nothing special. Zinc roofs sweating under the sun, walls patched with mud and cement, gutters carrying dirty water after rain. But for the boys, it was a kingdom. Adam lived in a modest house at the corner, the first son of a fisherman father and a mother who sold palm oil at the market. Sylvester's father was a carpenter, always hitting hammer on wood, while his mother fried a carb by the roadside. Gideon's parents farmed cassava, and his mother brewed local gin that made old men sit under trees and forget their sorrows. The three boys would wake up, sweep their compounds, do small errands for their parents, then meet in the middle of the street to plan their day. Where we they go today? Sylvester would ask, his eyes already shining mischief. To the bush, Gideon would shout. Adam, more careful, would shake his head. But make we no enter to depot. My papa say make I no pass the stream side. And like that, every day became adventure. The bush was their playground, with catapults, sticks, and traps they fashioned from wire. They chased squirrels, birds, and sometimes rabbits. They weren't the best hunters, but they were the loudest. One hot afternoon, they had gone far into the bush, barefoot, dust clinging to their legs. Wait, I see am. Bushfowl, Gideon whispered, pointing. Sylvester aimed his catapult, tongue sticking out in concentration, then released. The stone flew, missed badly, and hit Adam's shoulder. Ah bro, you wouldn't kill me? Adam cried, rubbing his shoulder. The others burst into laughter, rolling on the ground until their stomachs hurt. That was their life, endless laughter, endless togetherness. When they caught nothing, they still returned home bragging. We nearly catch one bush cow today. And the other children on the street would open their mouths wide in admiration. Unlike many childhood friendships that parents tried to break, their parents encouraged this one. Adam's father would say, when I see those three boys, I remember me and my own childhood friends. Let them grow together. Sylvester's mother added, as long as Deb no day thief, let them play. And Gideon's father often remarked, a tree no day stand alone. Even palm tree day grow with groundnut near am. So, nobody warned them against each other. The bond was seen as something natural, almost sacred. When they sat under mango trees at night, they often spoke of the future. Me, I'll be a big man carpenter. I'll build house that touches the sky. Sylvester said, chest out. I'll have plenty farms, plenty cassava. I'll be sell them in the market till I'm known globally. Gideon boasted. Adam, quiet as always, simply said, I want to go to Lagos. I hear say Lagos get light everywhere. Big buildings, fine schools. If I go there, maybe I go make it. They laughed at him. You, small Adam, you know fit survive Lagos. But he only smiled. Deep inside, he knew his path would be different. At school, the three were inseparable. They sat on the same bench, shared textbooks, and sometimes shared punishment. When Sylvester forgot homework, all three were beaten because they claimed they worked together. When Gideon stole groundnut from a vendor, all three were chased down the street. And when Adam won quiz competitions, all three celebrated as though they had carried the trophy themselves. But it was clear to everyone, Adam's head was sharper. He was always first in class. Teachers praised him, saying he would go far. Sylvester and Gideon admired him, but a small seed of envy began to grow one they didn't recognize yet. Years passed. After primary school, opportunities became scarce. Jobs were few. Dreams began to look like lies. Adam, determined, convinced his father to send him to Lagos. He promised, I will work and school at the same time. I will not waste the chance. His parents struggled, sold some fish, borrowed money, and finally gave him transport fare. The day he left, Sylvester and Gideon walked him to the bus park. Adam, no forget us so, Gideon said, half joking, half serious. How I go forget una. You think say Lagos fit swallow friendship? Adam replied with a smile. The bus left in a cloud of dust. Sylvester and Gideon stood watching until it disappeared. A silence hung between them. 1 month later, unable to bear life without their friend and hearing Adam's small successes in Lagos, they to found their way to the city. Lagos was chaos, endless traffic, shouting conductors, fumes in the air. But when the three reunited, It was as though the village days had returned. They lived together in a small self-contained, barely big enough for three. They shared food, shared clothes, even shared sickness. When one had malaria, all three took turns fanning and fetching water. But again, a difference showed. Adam enrolled in school, working part-time to pay fees. He read late into the night, candle burning till wax finished. Sylvester and Gideon worked small jobs but spent most evenings in clubs, chasing women, drinking beer till morning. Adam, you today serious? Sylvester mocked one night. Life now only once. Enjoy small. But Adam shook his head. Enjoyment no day run. If I suffer now, I go enjoy later. They laughed at him, but he remained focused. Even as they grew, Adam never abandoned his friends. Whenever he earned extra money, he paid more of the rent, sometimes 70%. When Sylvester lost a job, Adam carried his bills. When Gideon fell sick, Adam bought his medicine. People on their street began to call them the Three Friends and the Magic Calabash. Why? Because no matter how little they had, when they poured it into one pot, it always seemed enough for three. Little did they know, the calabash would one day crack. If Lagos has ever taught anybody a lesson, it is this. The city does not pity you. Either you run or Lagos runs you down. The three friends learned that quickly. Their mornings began with noise from hawkers. Pure water, gala, recharge card. Conductors shouted from buses. Oshodi straight. Enter with your change. In this madness, the boys tried to build their lives. Adam juggled work and school. He worked as a cybercafe attendant by day and studied computer science at night. Sylvester found jobs as a carpenter's apprentice. Later as a bus conductor when money got tight. Gideon did casual labor loading goods, helping in markets, running errands for shop owners. They all returned to the same small room at night, tired but laughing. Still, there was a difference. Adam spent his nights with books, while Sylvester and Gideon spent theirs in beer parlors. Slowly, Adam began to rise. At the cafe, customers noticed his intelligence. He fixed computers others couldn't. He designed flyers, helped people with online forms, even repaired broken phones. One man told him, "You have talent, young man. Use your head well." Adam saved every naira he could, while his friends bought new shoes and fancy shirts for clubbing. He bought textbooks and paid exam fees. By the time he graduated after 4 years, he already had work experience and connections. He got a better job in a tech firm, and soon he was earning more than both his friends combined. But he did not abandon them. When rent was due, he often volunteered. "Don't worry, I'll pay 70%. You people can balance the rest later." When Sylvester's younger sister fell ill back home, it was Adam who sent money. When Gideon was chased by a landlord for unpaid bills, it was Adam who stepped in. He carried them along like brothers. But Lagos has a way of changing people. Every Friday, Sylvester and Gideon disappeared into the city. Clubs in Surler, bars in Lekki, joints in Yaba, they knew them all. Women on their laps, bottles of beer clinking, music shaking the floor. Adam, on the other hand, stayed indoors. He would sit with his laptop, eyes glued to glowing screens, fingers clicking away. Sometimes he went to church programs or tech seminars. One night, Sylvester returned home drunk, stumbling. He saw Adam still typing. "Guy, abig rest small," Sylvester slurred. "Nah, so you go day type till you old. Enjoy life nah. You day behave like old man." Adam looked up calmly. "Enjoyment no day run. If I enjoy too early, who go enjoy later?" They laughed at him, but the laughter carried a trace of mockery. Life changed for Adam one afternoon in Lekki. He had gone to deliver some documents for his office. As he stepped out of a building near a mosque, he almost bumped into a young woman. She wasn't tall, wasn't short. Caramel skin like fresh bread, hair peeking from under her scarf. Her figure curved like the number 8. Her eyes, sharp but warm. "Sorry," Adam said, embarrassed. "No problem," she replied with a small smile. Her voice was soft, like morning dew. That was how he met patients. They exchanged numbers, and conversations followed. She worked in a small boutique nearby, selling clothes. At first, they spoke casually, but slowly, calls turned to outings. Outings turned to late-night talks. And late-night talks turned to something deeper. Adam was not the type to chase women, but patience disarmed him. She admired his seriousness, his dreams, his focus. "You're different from other Lagos boys," she once told him. "How do you mean?" Adam asked. "Most boys I meet only talk about clubs, drinks, and money. But you talk about tomorrow, about building, about family. That's rare." He smiled. For once, someone saw him the way he saw himself. After 2 years, he proposed. "Patience, will you marry me?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Yes, Adam, I will. But there was a problem. Patience dislikes Sylvester and Gideon. They are always in clubs, always with women. Their lifestyle is dangerous. I don't feel comfortable around them, she told Adam one evening. Adam defended them. They're my brothers. We grew up together. I can't abandon them. I'm not saying abandon them. But maybe when we marry, we should get our own place. Some distance. Adam sighed. He knew she was right. But it hurt to think of leaving his friends behind. 6 months later, they married. The traditional ceremony was in Imo State. Patience's family came in full Igbo regalia, wrappers tied high, red beads shining, men in Ijugu shirts. The white wedding was in Lagos. Sylvester stood proudly as Adam's best man, even though he had been drinking heavily the night before. Gideon wore his groomsman suit with excitement, though his eyes lingered too long on the gifts and decorations. It was a day of joy. Adam looked at his bride and felt like the luckiest man alive. Not long after the wedding, Patience discovered she was 3 months pregnant. Adam was overjoyed. He hugged her tight, lifting her off the ground. You have given me the best gift in life. His businesses also boomed. The fish farm he started back home grew into the largest in the state. He employed Patience's cousins as staff, paying them well. He opened a supermarket for her mother, a palm oil factory for her father, even bought cars for his own parents. Adam's success became the talk of town. People said, "This boy is blessed. Everything he touches turns to gold." But in the heart of Lagos, the shadows began to grow darker. Sylvester and Gideon saw the cars, the businesses, the houses. They saw Patience's glowing face. The baby on the way, the gifts showered on in-laws. Adam, don't leave us behind, Gideon muttered one night, bitterness heavy in his voice. Sylvester frowned. But he still dey pay our rent sometimes. He still dey help us. That one no matter, Gideon snapped. Look at Benz, Lexus, G-Wagon. And look at us. We still dey hustle like rats. If we no do something, we go die poor. The end.